What is up, CroatianSports.com nation? Ante Markus here for your Euro 2024 preview show with a permanent member of the CroatianSports.com team. You haven't seen him before. This is his inaugural podcast with us and video with us. But he has written over 75 articles for Croatian Sports over the past 2 years. The pride of Montreal, Canada, Mr. Markus Lulic Deschanel. Welcome, Marcus. How are you today?
I'm good, Ante. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been wanting to get you on for quite some time. So welcome, and you know what? In my opinion, no better time to get you on than a week before Euro 2024 kicks off.
Yeah, best time of the year.
Yeah. So for you guys that don't know Marcus, he's been our U19 expert. He's been our U21 expert. He was all over Gvardiol and Sucic 4 or 5 years ago. He's like, Ante, keep an eye out on these guys. And I'm like, what are these guys going to be, another Halilovic? And he's like, trust me, these guys are the real deal. I remember Marcus and Croatia U14 telling me about those guys. And guess what? Now they're on the senior squad and we get to talk to them, talk about them today. But just want to touch on a couple things this week. We're a week away from Euro 2024. Just want to get your take on the Portugal game and your pros and cons of Portugal. Who's your standout guy, Marcus, in that 2-1 win against Portugal in Lisbon, and who you looking to make a big impact in Germany?
Has to be Gvardiol. I think, my personal opinion, I think right now he's the best Croatian player in the world. I think I think this is his tournament to take the throne from Modric, and that's what he showed in Portugal. I think him going to City under Pep's tutelage and the way he was just racing up that flank and like attacking and also helping out defensively. Sometimes it's a bit risky, like when you see him in the box with the forwards and you're a bit like, "Ooh, all right, like get back there." But I think we have like just the way he dribbles like a winger. It's he was looking like Perisic out there sometimes coming into the box, and he's a left back.
That's
So
what you said
yeah,
right now, to take the throne away from Modric. Those are big words. Those are big boots
I
to.
know, I know.
You're that big on Gvardiol already?
Yeah, yeah. I think he had some people say like at the beginning of his City, like his stay at City, he was a bit of like a bust, or he had like a slow entry. But like you always see that like Grealish when he joined that whole first year like was terrible, and then the next year he exploded. So I think that's just how it is with Pep. Is he's like he fine tunes, he puts you out of your comfort zone, and that's how Guardiola felt. And then we saw at the end of the season, he was scoring like 5 goals in one
On
month. It's
fire. On
so
fire. I mean,
yeah,
at the beginning of the season, the Premiership season, if you would have said Gvardiol would have more goals than Kovacic, you would have said you're crazy, right? You would have said you're crazy, but it happened.
yeah, yeah. I mean, not that Kovacic is some goal scorer or anything, but no, I definitely didn't see that coming. Especially the Real Madrid one, and then he was whipping him in with his weak foot too. I think putting him at left back is the right call. So
With that said, look, Pep is one of the greatest coaches to ever walk planet Earth. I think we can all agree with that. There's a reason they bought him for $100 million. He was playing, we always say that center back was his native position. He moved him to left back, playing defense well, first year in the Premiership, scoring goals. Do you ever see Gvardiol playing center back for Croatia ever again?
I do potentially. I think it also depends like how his stay at City like progresses, because we saw like last season Nathan Ake, the Dutch center back, play at left back a lot like Gvardiol, and now they bought Gvardiol and he moved inside. So maybe there's a chance that Pep played him there all year to fine tune his different skill sets and then bring him back into center back. I don't know what kind of plan he has for him. Nobody knows, but I could definitely see him coming back in if Sosa has he had a bit of a slow season for Ajax, but I still think Sosa has got it. If he improves himself, and let's say Erlic or Pongracic or that third center back isn't really what we need, and we need to bring Guardiola in for more stability, I can totally see that happening. But maybe it's preemptive of me to say this, but from that Portugal performance, it definitely looks like Guardiola on that left flank gives us that edge, because that's what we've been having issues with. To be honest, it's scoring goals, and he really, like, not that he had a contribution necessarily, but he's really helping with cutting through those defensive lines and putting that pressure. Because against a Portuguese team, a pretty good team, like we had more chances, we outchanced them at one point in the game, it was like 7-2. Like 30 minutes in, we had 7 great chances on net. So you don't see that often.
No, but I mean, I was so happy with the Portugal game this week because we were playing with hunger, we were playing with pace, and my thing the past year and I'm not going to go into this today, into benching one of our center defensive midfielder tridents, is to add one more offensive player out there. I mean, I would love to play a 3-5-2. It'll never happen under Dalić. And for the sake of
No.
this conversation, I think we can all agree the midfield trident of Modric, Kovacic, Brozovic is not going to change this tournament. I just don't see it happening. Right. So for sake of
Yeah.
conversation, they're going to stay, which means on top of that, you're going to get one left winger, one right winger, one striker. But guess what? Gvardiol is almost playing like a winger. And that's that 10% extra added attack that I'm looking for. And he looks sexy. He had a nice shot on goal. That it almost went in yesterday against Portugal. So
And his header as well, he had a bit of like an awkward position header, just skimmed over the crossbar. I think what you were always saying with taking Kovacic out potentially for like a Maya or a Kramaric, give that edge. Maybe Gvardiol was the answer the whole time, because the way he's breaking through, and we still get that possessive midfield, because against Spain, Italy, I don't know if I trust like Amaya, Pasalic, great players, but to have them instead of a Kovacic or a Brozovic that just don't lose the ball could be a risk against a high possessive team. If we let ourselves get danced by Spain and Italy, danced to death, and then they pop one in at the end, and
yeah.
there goes 6 points, potentially.
Yeah.
I think the safe play is keeping that midfield trident, which is it's what he's going to do, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But Gvardiol, I think, adds that edge, helps that offense a little bit from the wing. And then again, the big topic of discussion is that front three. No one really, all three are up for debate pretty much.
Yeah.
So
And the biggest debate. So this is what I said before the Portugal game. I said, whoever Dalić puts out in the starting 11 against Portugal, I almost guarantee you that's going to be the starting 11 versus Spain. It's a week apart, Euro 2024 opener. Portugal and Spain are almost identical side style-wise. I was a little shocked to see Kramaric on the left side as left winger.
yeah,
And I still, if he's going to make any changes for Spain, that's the one I have a big question mark, because I have no idea if Kramaric can play well on the left side. And then Perisic looked good, but is Perisic at 100%? Can he play more than 60 minutes a game? These are all questions only Dalić knows right now.
Yeah. Seeing Kramaric on the left was weird. I found he was a bit awkward there. Like, it took him a while to get adjusted to that right wing. Like, I don't know if most of you remember, but he had like that spell for a couple months where he just wasn't scoring. Like, whether it was at striker, at right wing, at attacking midfield, he just wasn't scoring for the national team, despite doing great in the Bundesliga. And to speak on that, his numbers you were telling me earlier, Ante, his numbers in the Bundesliga have been pretty good this year.
I'm looking at it right now. So
I think it was 15 goals in like 30 games or something.
Guys, I'm looking at it right here. Andre Kramaric, 30 Bundesliga games this year, 15 goals, 6 assists.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Marcus. Let me ask you
Okay.
this. Let me ask you. This is the hot seat question. You're Dalić. We kick off against Spain in 1 hour. Who's your left wing for Croatia?
Ivan Perisic.
Perisic. Okay.
Yeah, it has to
We're gonna go into this. We're gonna go into this. Okay,
Okay.
Perisic is on my Mount Rushmore, top 4 Croatian players of all time. He scored. I mean, he's been the transmission under Modric's engine for over a decade. Who's your right wing?
I think right wing out of those 3, surprisingly, is the most locked in. No one's really been talking about it too much, but I think it's Maya. I think that's just what everybody's accepted. He's been phenomenal.
It has to be. You're not benching Maya. This guy is in the zone. He's playing better for Croatia than he is for club at Wolfsburg, which I'll take all day long. And I mean, he's just in that zone. Like, you don't stop momentum. You can tell he's playing with confidence. And one thing we've lacked since 2018, since kind of Rakitic left, is kind of that I'm going to take the ball and dribble up. Like, I can't wait for Luka Sučić to really get a starting 11 spot in the next 3 or 4 years, because he's like, hey, I'm taking the ball. I'm going to dribble past you. Let's go. And Maya has that right now. So look, we're going to talk about it in depth. You have Perisic on the left, Maya on the right, and then who's your starting number 9 striker?
This one's the toughest for me. Like, I would say the guy I'm going to say is I'm 51% confident in him and 49% in the other. Maybe it's recency bias because we saw him against Portugal, but I think Budimir. The reason I'm saying Budimir, and I'm not a big Budimir fan. I think like people call him like a knockoff Mandro. I think that's disrespectful to Mandzukic. I get he had a great season at Osasuna. Like he's been scoring goals. Like, and I'm happy. I hope that translates. I really do.
A great
I
season.
just
A great season. 17 La Liga goals in
yeah,
33 matches.
a
That's not a
phenomenal
great
season.
season. That's a
Yeah, no, it
phenomenal
is. It is.
season.
It is. But I still have my reservations about him. He just. But you know what? The way that we want to play and the way that we were playing against Portugal, I can see the vision. I'm starting to kind of accept what you've been saying, and that Budimir brings certain intangibles to the game that you can't really bring out in like stat. Like, yeah, okay, he missed a sitter. He missed two sitters. No, there was that header
Hitter and a
that
half.
kind of bounced in front of him.
It's quick. He had his back to goal.
Yeah,
We'll give him a
yeah.
pass. But
The
Kramaric,
other one, what was the other one?
Kramaric
He
missed
missed one.
three good opportunities in the Portugal
Yeah.
game. He takes too long in the box. Either shoot the damn ball or dish it off. But he's getting too cute in the box for my liking.
Well, there's my issue with the Kramaric thing, and that ties into Budimir. So what Budimir does well is he runs like a chicken with his head cut off. Like he runs hard. He's not the fastest. He's definitely faster than Petkovic.
He's faster than
runs
Petkovic.
hard.
Petkovic is molasses in the middle of a Montreal winter up there. It's like
Petkovic runs. I think I could beat Petkovic in a race with my winter boots on in 6 feet of snow. Like he's anyways.
What do you have to say? What do you have to say with Petkovic? Because like these comments on social media are hilarious. They just put his goal against Brazil up. Petkovic, yes, he has scored one of the greatest goals in Croatian history. Yes,
yeah.
And then he scored against the Dutch again, a year later. But we have to look at overall strategy. We have to look at overall.
That's the issue. That's the issue.
Budimir is better with his head. So if we can get crosses to him, he's going to be a good point man. And I think he's just a better trash picker upper in front of goal, and that's exactly how he scored that goal off the Pasalic crossbar this week against Portugal. Like he was quick.
He was in a great position.
That's Ivica Olic. That's Ivica Olic all over again. People talk shit about Ivica Olic all the time, but he scored goals. They were messy goals. You're a hockey guy. Sometimes you got to put puck on net and clean up the trash in front of the net and call it a day. Simple as that. We need one of those.
Sometimes there's those guys that they just know where to be, and they don't do everything else real pretty, but Budimir knows where to be, especially this year he knows. And another thing about Budimir is his runs and the fact that he stretches out the defense like that gives a lot of space behind him. And we saw so many times Mayer. So Mayer is not a pacey winger. He's not a classical winger. He's not a Jeremy Doku, take your man one-on-one, race down the line, or like Leao was doing against Stanisic last game, almost beating him every time. You're never going to see that from Mayer. But he's great on his feet, and he's got that attacking like dagger. Like he likes to split through. And Budimir stretches out that space, which gives him a lot of room to cut in and make his play, or like we saw, beat Kramaric, who then didn't have his greatest game. He was a bit awkward with the ball, shooting it into traffic, but that created so much space and so much opportunity. And Petkovic is the opposite of that. Unfortunately, he plays with his back to goal, and he likes to come in and link up, which is very useful sometimes. But that's why I think we have two. Of course, it would be nice to have a Mandzukic and just boom, or a Harry Kane. And Harry Kane, he's your striker. That there's not even a debate.
Yes, but we can't pull. We can't. We're not FIFA. This isn't FIFA right now. We can't just pull players up. We have our set squad list, and that's who we have to. That's what we have to deal with, right? People are still going. Why isn't Rakitic still on the squad? Stop. Everyone, just stop. Bring him on for penalties. Stop. Everyone, just relax. So look, this is what I'm hearing from you. Look, you are my favorite person on CroatianSports.com when it comes to formation analysis. You're the one that builds out, here's my starting 11, and here's a backup starting 11. What I'm hearing from you, you're starting Perisic against Spain on the left, you're starting Mayer on the right, and you're starting Budimir up top. Am I hearing that right?
Yes, that's how I would go. Yeah.
With that said, call me crazy here. You're leaving Kramaric, 30 Bundesliga appearances, 15 goals and 6 assists in the Bundesliga. You're dropping him to the Croatian bench.
Yeah, and if anything, I think that's just a compliment to our national team right now. I just said in the group chat after the Portugal game, I had a bit, I wouldn't call it an epiphany, but I had a thought, and I just said, I think this is the most deep, at least in my lifetime, I've ever seen the squad. Like, because I was born in 2004. So my first tournament that I have any memory of is 2012, when we had Spain and Italy in our group at that Euro. And
Yeah.
2014, I watched all the games. I remember them very well and onwards. And all those years, 2016, we had a great team. We were unlucky against Portugal. 2018 was the strongest starting 11 I've ever seen. But those backups weren't the greatest. Like if Ivan Strinic got injured, who do we have?
Yeah.
Ivic? Like it was tough. And even 2022, bringing Vlasic on, bringing Ivanushets on, it was a bit But now we can confidently say, well, I can confidently say that I believe a guy that has 21 goals and assists in 30 games in the Bundesliga shouldn't start for Croatia. And that's amazing because you can bring guys on like Kramaric. You can bring on Petkovic late in the game, like we saw him against Brazil. Petkovic has that clutch gene in him, and he's gonna score those goals at the dying minutes. He does it for Dinamo. He does it for Croatia. So the fact that we had even Vlasic last game looked amazing. I haven't seen a great Vlasic performance in a while.
Yeah.
Like these are just great things to know that our backups. Sucic, like even him, yeah, he missed the one-on-one, but he was probably
Should have scored a goal, but
nervous.
that's okay. That's okay.
It's okay.
You
Yeah,
just brought up a fantastic point because we always talk about starting 11 and then call it a day. You're right. If Dalić can start making subs in the 55th, 60th, 65th minutes, bringing on
I think
fresh
he can.
legs, and we have a solid B team off the squad with Kramaric, with Petkovic, Vlasic, you have Sosa on the bench.
Exactly. Like, hey, if it's not working out, you bring on Sosa for Pongracic or Erlic. You bring Gvardiol in the middle, Sosa to the left back. Like, there's so many plug and plays Dalic can do, and it doesn't really impact our strength that much.
Yeah, I mean, we never talk about the bench enough because it's not a sexy topic where it's like, oh, we
Yeah.
have three really good bench players. Like, cool, good for you, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. But you just brought up a good point. You can move Gvardiol to the center if Pongracic or Erlic or Šutalo, whoever he puts back there doesn't do well. Perisic or Kramaric off the bench, Vlasic off the bench. You don't even mention a name right here. The Serie A super sub of the year, Mario Pasalic, comes in
Yeah.
off the bench, bangs that ball off the crossbar. I mean, he
And that's
rattled
what he
that one.
does. That's what he does. We see it all the time. And I'm not a huge Mario Pasalic fan because
They're
he's not the
mine.
sexiest player in the world, but I have to respect it. Like, I love the guy too because every minute he gets, he makes the most of it, you know?
He scored
So,
that
yeah.
goal. He scored that goal against Spain 3 years ago at Euro 2020 to force extra time. Like there are some players. I never want Pasalic to start for us. I don't think we're there. I don't think we
No.
ever need to. But he comes in with such an energy and a chip on his shoulder. Like the few Serie A games I watched for him at Atalanta during the year, he comes in and he means business and he knows that role and he's fine with it. He
Yeah,
checks out the door.
he knows what his job is and he's willing to do it because it's country over your own pride, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of these issues with other countries, for example, and maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. Like, what do I know, right? But like you get your English teams where these guys are all media stars, like who, like you're gonna bet Marcus Rashford left off the squad, like there's guys like this that aren't even making the team, and it's like they all want to fight to play. They all want to fight to play. But you look at our squad, and I really don't see that. I think like, look, if Stanisic starts at right back, he just usurped Juranovic for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
You think Juranovic is out here like making a mess in the locker room about it? I really don't think so. I think our team, every player knows his role and knows his job, and what they want the most is to win.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
I think there's a specialness and I know you're still a young guy who wasn't around in 96 and 98 to see what we did there, but this Croatian team's special because in that England example you just gave me and all my English friends and my Irish friends are like the reason that England never wins is because they put club before country over there. When they get in
Yeah,
the
they
locker
do.
room, it's about Spurs and Chelsea and United and City. Well, guess what? We don't have that problem. Everyone in that locker room puts Croatia first. No one, there's a cohesiveness, and I think Dalic and Modric really glued together one soul, one collective soul over the past 6 years, and I think there's a beauty to it, and that's why we're going far in tournaments. Simple as that.
And another thing, just not to dull on the topic that much longer, but remember we would always complain about like Mandzukic just retired, he's on the coaching squad. Chorluka, hey, you want a job? Come onto the HNS coaching squad. Ivica Olic, get on the squad. All these guys, we're just collecting them like infinity stones, all these old players onto our squad. But you know what? We're not running a club here where we need like to win the Premier League in 38 games. Like this is a one tournament, bind the team together. And usually those are just like you get the best performances out of like I will die on this pitch to
Yeah.
win the match.
Yeah.
And these guys that have been there and done that and been former teammates to give like guidance and leadership, maybe Dalic is onto something. Maybe we were just, what do we know, you know?
What Dalić did, picking up the team at one of the lowest points in history in 2017, right before the 18 World Cup started, it's nothing short of a miracle. But you know what? He goes to Medjugorje and prays. Guess what? He hooks up the team with a visit to the Pope at the Vatican. You
Yeah.
think he's not going the extra mile? They're
So
all in, baby.
Medjugorje gets us a semifinal or potentially a final in the World Cup. What do you think seeing the Pope gives us?
Oh man. I mean, how
I
cool
hope he's
how
on to
cool is
something.
that? The thing is, you, we know us Croatians. That's not a media play. That's not a social media plug. Like they went to go see the Pope for real. And there's a
Yeah.
saying Croatian that Croatians are more Catholic than the Pope. So I mean, hey, if they're all in, they're all playing under Dalic, under one cohesive mindset. They don't know they're playing with Modric, who is becoming even more legend as time goes on. And guy just won another Champions League. Yes, we're playing for Croatia. Yes, we're playing for one country. But I think everyone, including you, including me, how sweet it would be for Modric to lift an international trophy. I mean, I would have tears in my eyes. I would.
Yeah, me too. I had tears in my eyes when we beat Brazil. And that was a quarterfinal. So
Yeah. I mean, that was me. I'll say this. I've said this to many people when I ran into Modric in LA last year when he was playing a friendly in Pasadena against AC Milan. Vinny, Courtois, all the Brazilian guys, they just walked by the media doing their thing. It's all business. I was the only Croatian media member there, but he came over, said hello, said, "What's going on? What are you going to do after the game? What are you covering here?" This is a Real Madrid. This isn't whatever FC. He came over, and I think that's the specialness of being Croatian, and I think he knows he's on the way out, and he's gonna squeeze every drop of that lemon. And with that said, I mean, I think if we get some momentum and we get a good result against Spain into Albania, we're gonna be in good shape, just like we have the past three tournaments.
yeah, I agree.
But with that said, let's talk a little Euro 2024. I mean, you have Perisic. Look, this is my thing. I want to go to the left wing really quick.
Okay, perfect.
Something's up where a week before Euro 2024, if Perisic isn't starting, I would assume that he's not at 100% and he can't go a full 90 minutes. That's my assumption. And because of that, I would default to putting him on the bench. He looked really good against Portugal the last 30 minutes of that match, but maybe that's his maximum. So with that said, I think Perisic is your super sub on the left side on the bench. What if what in that scenario you move Gvardiol in the center, put Perisic at left back, and then you could put like a Piazza or someone like that, or an even Ušić at the end of the game on the left side. You're right. We're deep. We're deep. We have
Yeah,
a
so
lot
those are changes that can be made at the end, of course. And I do agree with you that if Perisic is not fit, of course, like he shouldn't be starting. Like there's no reason to injure himself further or to if he's not at 100%, like there's no need. Like I'd rather a 100% Piazza than like a Perisic that can hardly like
Yeah.
sprint, you know. So
Well,
it wouldn't make sense to start him if that's the case. But what I'm saying is that if he is ready for like a hard 60, 65 minutes, I don't think you can bench him. It's just like most of us say, like Croatia goes how Perisic goes. So
I mean, I've learned to know that saying, and I've learned to understand it. Maybe Perisic knows this is his last international tournament. And then,
yeah,
you've been with this team. You're the heart and soul of this team with Modric, and this is your last tournament. You know what? If you're ever gonna go balls out, this is the time. But is he a 90-minute baller or a 30-minute baller? And we're gonna know in a week. Maybe Dalic was just resting, and maybe Dalic obviously knows more than we do. We're sitting across the pond here, but I think we're in good shape. I love the hunger against Portugal, and you know what? You bring up a great point, Marcus. We have depth like we've never had before. You don't think about it that way. And what can you make? 5 or 6 subs now at Euro? Is it
I
6?
think it's five. I
Five,
think it's
five
five.
plus like one more for a head injury or something dumb like that. So 5. We got the depth to play around in a 90-minute game and definitely in a 120-minute game. So with that said, going to the Spain match, what's your prediction for Spain? And who do we have to watch for on the Spain side? Who's the most dangerous over there?
So prediction wise, that's tough. I think I'll come up with my answer while I speak. But the Spanish team, like they've always got quality. I think people assume that they're weaker than they usually are. But people are saying, like pundits and whatever, they're saying the same thing about Croatia, aging squad, aging squad. But you look at our back line, we have an average age of 24. You know, like we have maybe some aging key players, but that's not a bad thing in a 7 game tournament. This isn't a season. This is a
Yeah.
7 game tournament.
Yeah.
So I think the same applies to Spain. Maybe people don't go and call them aging, but people call them up and coming or in transition. That's the phrase people usually use. And Spain, of course, is still one of the favorites, but I think most people have 3, 4 countries above them comfortably. And of course, we know they have good midfield. They have Pedri, Rodri, probably the best defensive midfielder in the world. Their defense is always pretty solid. They like to keep the ball and possess. That's what they're going to be doing. But I think their most dangerous players are their wings. And that's, if we can limit that, I think we can beat Spain or get a result. Even a draw against Spain, I don't think is a terrible result.
Draw's fine.
Of course, we want to win, but a draw.
A draw
It's okay.
A draw is completely fine. I mean, I'm excited to see you know, Berlin and all our fans, because it's almost going to be a home match because there's so many Croatians that live in Germany. But
Yeah, and you saw the welcome they got. Did you see the welcome on Twitter? How
welcome.
many people were? It was
Thousands.
insane. It was
Thousands.
insane.
But
That looked like Zagreb when they came back home in 2018. That's what it looked like.
it didn't look like that. It took them.
Okay,
Took them 12 hours to get from the airport to the Turek, but it wasn't quite like that. But I mean, what a welcome. I mean, what a welcome.
Yeah.
We have been in the world spotlight now for 6 years. We have a Ballon d'Or winner in Luka Modric, who everyone knows out. He is a household name. He's a household. He is. Lukita's a household name, and we're gonna go into this tournament with really good momentum, with a deep bench, like you said. We have such a deep bench that we can't figure out a starting 11 because it's so good, and that's a good problem to have. My thing with Spain, Marcus, my thought, and you tell me. I think you're a little more intertwined with the Spanish team than I am. My thought was, if you can stop Pedri, you'll be okay. But we were talking
I think
group tag. We were talking the group tag. You said that's not necessarily true.
no, I don't think that's where the issue is because I don't think their midfield's any better than ours. Like if you look at names, maybe you could say right now, today, Rodri is better than Modric. I think that's an argument that can be made, like for club wise. And then you could say Pedri's better than Kovacic. And then whoever else they're going to have as their third midfielder, I'm not too sure, could go toe to toe with Brozovic. So maybe you can make the argument that their midfield's better than ours. But regardless, we're both teams that possess and hold the ball. So I don't think the game is won or lost there. And if anything, our midfield three has been playing together since Rakitic left. That's been the midfield three. So we have that experience on them too, on top of the talent being either equivalent or us better, them better. It sways. So the midfield for me is absolutely not where the game is won. I think our game is won by stopping those wings. And so there's a new breakout star this year at Barcelona, Lamine Yamal on the right wing. And what comforts me is that he's going to be going up against Gvardiol's side. And that's our best defender against, I wouldn't say their best attacker because he is only 16, 17 years old, but definitely their most explosive. Like he's their X factor. If he is on, the Spanish team will be dangerous because we saw some moments for him in Barcelona in the Champions League or even in La Liga where he would go off. And in their most recent friendly against Northern Ireland, he had the highest match rating. He had 2 assists, and he's a firecracker. He something of a young Neymar. Some people like to compare him to. And if Gvardiol can maybe sit a little further back in the Spain game, not be caught up in the box as much as with Portugal, and keep an eye out on him and Nico Williams on their left side, I think we could be okay. But we saw Stanisic struggle with Leao on the right side. So another pacey winger there. How do you think he would do?
Yeah, well, Leao is a top Serie A attacker. I mean, I've watched him. The guy's a beast. Yeah, I think he's AC Milan's best player. He's a beast. That's Stanisic did great with him. My thing that you just alluded to is if our wing backs get caught up too far up the field offensively, that's what happened with Gvardiol on the goal that Portugal scored. He's not going to be able to backtrack, and our center backs aren't going to be able to cover. Then we're in trouble. Then we're in a lot of trouble. a lot of trouble. But I think Stanisic did fine against Leao. Leao should have had a goal or two, but I think Dalić is going to go to the tape, show the boys like, hey, we need to be careful on these counters because when we lose the ball in the midfield, if we can't get back, I think we're screwed.
Exactly, and we saw Stanisic did well, like we're saying, but I from my eyes, I was still nervous every time. I think Stanisic did as well as he could stopping Leao, and I was still nervous. And you could still see that a couple more steps, and Leao really would have had him there. And Nico Williams is probably, I think he's a little bit quicker. He's not as good of a player, but I think he's a little bit quicker than Leao. So there's going to be some difficulty on that side, but we have Stanisic there. We have Šutalo, who's probably a little bit faster and stronger than Edlic or Pongracic, whoever plays there.
Yep.
So we do have some structure there. I think our defense is much better than it used to be, even just a couple of years ago. But it's won or lost in the wings. If we can lock them down there, I think general play style, and if we play like we did against Portugal on the offensive end, I think we can get a good result against Spain.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're completely right with that. That our Achilles heels has been set pieces for since 2018. I think it's gonna be the counter. I think it's gonna be the counter, and not nothing against Gvardiol or Stanisic, but I think that if the more forward they go, the more trouble they could get themselves into tracking back on the counter. And look, I'm gonna have to eat my own words, and maybe that's why Dalić does love playing the Modric, Kovacic, Brozovic trident in the middle, because it'll be a possession game and one of them will be able to help the defense. But like we're gonna have to have possession 55% against Spain or Italy. Or maybe we start catching them on counters, and that's why you want the Maya. That's why you want the
The
Gvardiol.
Mayer Budimir played against Portugal. If we can work that, and potentially that's why I prefer Perisic on the left, is I think if that ball gets played into Perisic in the middle rather than Kramaric, I think he does a little bit better with that. So that type of play is where we can get them. I think the counter is, it wasn't always our strength, but I think right now it could be. And like you said, Gvardiol, Stanisic, blitzing up the field like they did a couple times. It's high risk, high reward. Sometimes it can work. If Gvardiol, when he danced through the D and he hit that shot he tried to get it with the inside of his boot, he got it with the outside, it went wide. But
Yeah.
if he goes through there and he hits one in, that could be a game winner. But then if he misses, he gets tackled, it goes the other way, he has to run all the way back. It could be also a game loser. So it's high risk, high reward.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if it's worth it against a team like Spain. So
I just think Spain's better than Italy. I think you never underestimate any opponents. Albania qualified just like everyone else did, but I think we all expect the 3 points against Albania.
If we don't, then I don't know how much further in the tournament you can go, because that's no disrespect to Albania. I know they have a great team. They have some good young players. They did great in qualifying, but that's a 3 points that's needed.
Yeah, that's a
sure.
3 point. I think that's a 3 points needed. That's also if we get a draw against Spain, completely not the end of the world. But obviously, you want to win. A win would be super hot. Then you could lock it all up with 3 points against Albania going into the Italy match. But with that said, here's the $1 million question for you. How does Croatia Spain end on Saturday in Berlin?
I'm feeling 1-1. It's tough for me. I don't know if we go out there and grab the first 3 points. I think adjustments will have to be made after that match, but I think it's going to be a 1-1 match, but not a bad performance. I think we're going to play well.
Okay. 3-2 Croatia. High scoring affair for all you degenerate gamblers out there. Take the over. Take the over. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. It usually is. I was at the Spain game in 2016 in Bordeaux. That was 2-1. Perisic scored in the last 5 minutes of the game. What was it? The extra time? It was 3-3 3 years ago at Euro, and then it ended 5-3 in extra time.
5-3, yeah.
It's going to be
and then 0-0 in the most recent match in the Nations League final.
Nations League final, yeah. That one went. We just played too tight. We just played too tight that game. But 2 out of 3 of those games went over 2.5. I think it's a high scoring affair. I think we ride this offensive momentum that we had against Portugal and Macedonia. 5 goals in 2 games, only conceded once. That's pretty good. That's pretty good against a Portugal squad too with Macedonia. I think it goes over. I think we have some goal scorers. Gvardiol scores. Maeda scores. Perisic winner in the 91st minute.
Oh, I would love that.
16, huh? Maybe who knows? Maybe Perisic is healthy. Maybe Dalić and Perisic are playing possum over here. I don't know. I don't
Maybe he's
know.
hiding his secret weapon.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. But you know what? When it's tournament time every other summer, this is better than Christmas for me. This is better than kids waking up on Christmas, opening up all their gifts. This is where I feel like a kid again. And it's like so fun to have you and Ante Zoric and Novakovic, Christian, Croatia U14, Andrew writing articles. This is the bread and butter. This is my favorite month of the year, either World Cup or Euro, and I think it's gonna be a fun month with you and the boys.
Yeah, it will. Like you said, better than Christmas. It really is. It's the best time of the year.
And you know what? With the pundits and everyone saying that it's an old Croatia squad, they said that 2 years ago.
Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on.
But we play best as an underdog and best as a black horse, whatever you want to call it. But you know what? I don't say this a lot. I'm knocking on wood. I'm knocking on wood. I think we top this group and we go into knockout stages hot.
I think so as well. I think my prediction when I went through it, I did there's these like websites, Telegraph and whatever. You can just kind of put it through for all the groups. I think this group ends us, Spain, Italy, Albania. I think we tie with Spain on points, and maybe we just get a better result against Albania. But I'm feeling very, very confident about this group. I think everybody's underestimating us, just like they always do, because at one point they keep saying the flame is going to extinguish. The flame's going to extinguish. Eventually they're old. They're getting older again. But I don't know. I don't know. We're looking pretty good. I'm pretty confident. So
It's Modric and company. I haven't seen this kind of attack in quite some time. That's been my biggest frustration with this team as we hold the ball in the midfield too long. I was really happy with Portugal. If I was the coach, I'd say, boys, go out there, play without fear. Don't worry if you make a mistake. Don't worry if you get scored on. Go score goals like it's a Sunday league. Go score goals. And you know what? The fans are there in Germany. I'm sure Dalić went to Medjugorje. The team went to go see the Pope at the Vatican. What else can we do? What else can we do for Modric and company to lift our first international trophy? We're checking all the boxes and we're deep on the bench. So, look, I'm happy to be here with you. Again, everyone, for his first time ever on Croatian Sports, Mr. Markus Lulic Deschanel. A pleasure to have you. And I know we're going to be hearing more from you in the upcoming month. But thanks, my man. Appreciate all your time. And let's see how we do against Spain on Saturday.
thank you, Ante. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I think everybody is.
All right, guys. All right, for Croatian Sports, Markus, Ante Kvartić here. See you guys Saturday. We'll do better next time.